And then you run. Yes, you see this interface. Just that it will look smaller on your phone than if you are laptop. So laptop is like this. So this is a front end. You don't want to see the back, okay? Let's enjoy the front. Let's use the front. Now, this is an online data portal, as I indicated earlier, that houses aggregated data from Ghana Statistical Service. And by law, GSS is the institution mandated to produce and release official statistics for Ghana. So if you are using data from anywhere else and it is not GSS, I'm not saying it is wrong, but look at it and look at it again, okay? Because we have the mandate. We have the legal mandate to do so. All right, so once you get to the start bank, you see this interface. And if you look at it, you are going to go through the various components of the interface. You see that? So assuming I am looking for a particular data set, my team and I will conceptualize. The decision has been made that this is the product we want to develop. And this product needs we need data on a particular indicator. But we don't know where to get that data from the server. Is that right? Let's say my team and I, we want to build an app that will help people within districts to determine how close schools are, primary schools are, to residences within a particular district. But I know that from the start back, I need information on education, something like that. But I don't know where to get it. So when you look up, just under the start bank, there's a search key there. Do you see that? So we have search by indicator or keyword. So I don't know where to get the data, but I know education. Come to the start bank and type education. Is that okay? Once you type education, it's going to outline all the aggregated data sets we have on education. So then it will become important for us to determine exactly where or which particular year we are talking about. So if you look at the start bank, what you can see now, we have population and housing census aggregated data of PHC 2021. You remember 2021, we conducted a census. And the census is getting to know the number of people living in a particular area at a particular point in time, right? We did a count of all Ghanaians. So all other information, including fertility, education, economic activity, difficulty in performing activity, sanitation, water, housing, all information we collected during the census 2021 is being hosted on this server. Are we all right? So if I need something, let's say the information I need is from the 2021 census. Where do I go? I go there. Do you see that? You go to 2021 census. But if what I'm looking for is on macroeconomic indicators, and when you hear macroeconomic indicators, we're talking about the fundamentals. And when the fundamentals are weak, what will happen? We are talking about economic fundamentals, and that is what we mean by the macroeconomics. So that's where the GDP, the trade balance, the trade data, inflation, everything falls under the macro. So macro means bigger, then micro is smaller. So information on household is micro data, micro information, macroeconomic indicators. But information on Ghana, that is macro. You see exchange rate, you see GDP, you see a lot of other things in that particular section, if that is what you want to do. But if the census information I'm looking for is 2010, you see, we have here 2021, and here we have what? 2010. Is that not it? So we know we do census every 10 years. Are we together? So the last time we did, prior to 2021, our last census was 2010. And prior to 2010, the last census will be what? 2000. Thank you. So we have census for 2000, 2010, and 2021. And that is when we have the population and housing census. So previously, we used to have only population census. So from 2000, then we started having population and housing census because we're not only taking information about the people, we're also taking information about where they are living, the type of house they live in, whether it is a story building or it is a container. Is it that thing? Yes, or it's tarpaulin. We wanted to know. So the housing characteristics, their sanitation, their source of electricity, all these things were gathered from 2000 till date. So this is what we have. And if you scroll down, you see a lot of other subsections. Can you see that? So this one is what? Annual household income and what? Expenditure survey. So I'm explaining to you what is contained in each of the sections. So that when you go there, you know where to look for what, right? Now, when you go into the annual household income and expenditure survey, this is a quarterly survey GSS is currently conducting. We have not finished. As I speak to you, enumerators are on the field. Is that all right? Enumerators are on the field collecting data for the 12th week. And when we talk about week, we are talking about the quarter. If a year has 12 months, how many months makes a quarter? I'm hearing 4, I'm hearing 3. Okay. You know, because you easily get confused because a quarter is always 1/4. Is that not it? So then as people say 4 initially, and say, oh no, we are dividing the 12 by 4. So that is what makes it a quarter, right? The quarter is 1/4. So if I'm dividing 12 by 4, each I'm getting is 1/4, which gives me a quarter. The quarter is made of 3 months. So every 3 months from January 2022, every 3 months we visit some about close to 11,000 households in Ghana across the country, which were randomly selected. Is that okay? And when we say random selection, it means that your inclusion in the survey was as a result of chance. You were not favored to be part of the survey. So we randomly selected households, and then we are using this household to gather information on every quarter. Every quarter we go to the same household, and that is what we call a panel survey. I follow. I know some of you are not statisticians, or you've not done this before. You are computer scientists. But when you go, you visit the same group of individuals over a period of time, right? You go, the next cohort, you go to the same people. You want to track their behavior over a period of time. That becomes a kind of longitudinal survey, right? But if I come to you at a time, I collect information and I'm gone, I won't come again. That is cross-sectional. And most of the surveys until the annual household income and expenditure survey will only be cross-sectional surveys. We go to the households at a point, we get information about their living standards, and then we move. But the panel, which is the annual household income and expenditure survey, you can get information for every quarter from 2022. So from 2022 to 2024 ending, how many years? January 2022 to December 2024. How many years? Huh? January 2022 to December 2024. How many years? It's 3 years. And 3 years has how many quarters? 12 quarters. Thank you. So as we speak, they are in the field to collect data for the 12th quarter. Is that okay? Yes. So this particular data set houses that. And then we have Ghana Census of Agri, GCA. And this was a census of agriculture. It is not census of population and housing. This was census of agriculture where we visited households that were engaged in agriculture. And it wasn't only agricultural households we looked at, we also looked at institutional agriculture. Is that okay? We're not talking about only people in households, but we're also interested in people who are doing institutional farming. You know what we call institutional farming? You don't know institutional farming? Large scale farming to some extent. One may want to call it a large scale farming, where the farm does not belong to an individual, but it belongs to an institution, or they engage in farming in a large scale to the extent that. So that is what we mean by institutional farming. Are you alright? So in 2017, GSS conducted a census of all agri households, and we were interested in the kind of crop they are growing, whether they are using farm implements, whether they are growing to eat, growing to feed, or growing to sell, or a combination of both. There are a lot of other information we can get from this particular GCA. We have information on cash crops. We have information on arable crops. What is arable crops? Do you understand? You don't understand arable. Okay, I don't understand. Then we have trade indicators. I talked about issues of trade, where we are saying that we want to see how Ghana is trading with our international partners. And this is where we have import and exports coming to play. Is that not it? So whenever you hear trade, international trade, we are talking about import and export. So our external relation is how trade will be, whether in goods or in services. So what goods do we trade in as a country? Cocoa and what? And what? Timber, bauxite, We don't trade in it with them. They will come and dig it and take it away. If you trade in them, we'll add value before we take it out. But if you take the raw cheese, that got trade. All right. So we have trade indicators where we have information on the external economy. So if you do a bit of economics, that is where we talked about the external economy. So whenever we talk about external economy, we are talking about what we call the net export, the difference between import and export. So if your import exceeds your export, meaning you are swallowing more than you are vomiting, that is the literal meaning. You are supposed to also give up, but you are taking in. And we can say the country is import dependent in that extent if our trade balance is negative. A lot of things goes into that. Then we have the Ghana Living Standard Survey. And as I speak to you tomorrow, enumerators, I don't know the number, but they will be the number. We'll be going to the field again to collect information on living standard of Ghanaians for the next 1 year. Right? So for the next 1 year, they are going to be on the field. But this survey is not a quarterly survey like ours. Is that okay? There's a difference between this survey and then the quarterly survey. So this particular one is different from. So this is a cross-sectional survey, the Ghana Living Standard. And we are going to say that how were you living? What were your living standards? Your consumption pattern, your expenditure pattern, what are you buying? The focus of this year's living standard survey is on learning poverty. So maybe if you're reading a bit, you get to understand the details of that. So the 7th round, we are going to the field for the 8th round. So the 7th round is currently there. And in there, you have information on education, you have information on health, You have information on economic activity, that is labor, employment, unemployment. You have housing characteristics. You want to look at access to water source. You want to look at electricity. You want to look at sanitation. A lot of things are contained in that data as well. And mind you, GLSS 7 was done in 2017. So whenever I mention a survey, I talk about a year. But you realize that when I talk about the macroeconomic and the trade indicators, I don't mention any year. That one is continual. So from wherever you see the data started till date, whenever there is a new release, we add on. Are we okay? But for the surveys are conducted at a particular point in time. And that is why GCA, even though a census was conducted in 2017, GLSS is a survey was conducted in 2017. IES is a survey is being conducted between 2022 and 2024 and all that. So these are the various data sets we have. And these are the sections we have on the start bar. So what it means is that if I want to develop a solution, if I want to develop a solution, and the focus is that I must use start bank data, then I need to try to situate my solution in the context of one of these issues and say that I'm going to get data. It can even be a combination. I want to get data from GLSS to see how educational levels of Ghanaians compare to what we recorded in 2021 census, and I want to use that to build my case and develop a solution. It is fine. You can go there and use it. But just know the context in which you are using the data, especially the year. And the fact that some of them are surveys and the others are censuses. Please, are you okay? So when it is a survey, you need to weight it. There is a weight variable that was because the survey doesn't use everybody. That is why I said there is a random selection. Not all households were selected. If you get information, let's say I need information for all of us in this classroom. And then I'm going to use them as the guinea pig. I hope you've all done biology before. Because some of you have done biology. Yeah. And when you want to do practicals in biology, use guinea pigs, right? So let's say I'm not saying you are guinea pigs. An example. So we want to use them to collect the information. And when we finish, we generalize and say that everybody in this conference will behave peculiarly. That is what we mean by survey. Or you sample from the whole. So it's like everybody here becomes the population. So if we need a sample, we pick a sample that is a representation of this population. And once we conduct the study from that sample, we can conclude that everybody in that population behaves like the sample. Okay, so that is what we are talking about. So if you are using survey data, the numbers that will be reported are not total population. That's the difference I want you to get. If I'm using a survey, the number is not what? Total population. The number is a sample. But because this is how the start bank credit is aggregated, before we generated the numbers, we made sure we weighted it so that we scale it up to the total population before we do the review. So let's say I am looking for information from the 2021 population and housing census, right? I've already indicated to you that if you don't know where to get it, just click on the search key and you see the search I have done. I have the first one being population, I have pop, I have employed, level of education, I have water. These are searches I did. So if I click on say water and I leave the machine, water, oh, no internet. No internet. Okay, so let's connect to internet. Internet. Yes. Okay. Yes. So once I enter, it's supposed to load, or you can click on the search key, and that is going to open to me all the tables that contain the word water. Are you okay? Do you see that? So to open all this for me. And if you read each of these lines, you will get information on water. The first one is use of improved water, main source of drinking water, main source of another drinking water, method of wastewater. So once I search the word water, any table that contains water will pop up. Are you okay? Then I'll now look through and look for what I want. Please, is it clear? Hello? All right. So that is what happens if you do a search for water. Now, once I know exactly where to obtain my tables, let's say I know what I'm looking for. I want to use 2021 census to build my solution, right? So I go straight to 2021 census. And what do? Instead of clicking download geofiles, census atlas, and whatever, now for every survey and data we put out, we try to attach what we call the geofiles. And these geofiles are more like shape files. I don't know if there's anyone here who works with geography. You have expertise in GIS. Okay. So we have what we call shape files. And then the shape file basically defines the features and boundaries of a geographical unit. So in this case, if I say region, I have a shape file for Greater Accra. It gives me all the features of Greater Accra. And if I want to, you can import a shape file in R, Python, and map Ghana. It is possible. Is that okay? Let's say you want to have a story where you think a map can better tell a story. You can get a shape file for Ghana and using your indicators to do a map and tell your story. That is perfectly allowed. So, for example, if you look at this one, so it was a shape file we're able to use to develop something like this. You see this one? And then when you do this, you can do this, you can do that. You see that? So this is a map of Ghana where we are making presentation on an issue. So this is how we thought we could tell the story. And there are a lot of other ways you can tell a story. You see that? So let's say you go down and this is a story you are telling about Ghana. And for every region, you want to have the indicator you are talking about. You see? Yes. So shape files are also attached to the data set so it can help you. For example, the census, we have the shape file for all the districts in Ghana. Then if I want to download anything from census, I click on view more. This is view more. Those who are sleeping, wake up. So it's too late to be sleeping. The wache, the bamboo, the rice is working. The director shares a concern, I agree. That she's not seeing you making notes. All your brains are marking. Whatever I say, it attracts. So if I click on view more, this is going to open. Now I'll spend a bit of time to highlight some key features about each of the sections you are seeing. So the Stat Bank is built in a way that once you are putting a data set, you don't just put everything together and cram it up as one, but we try to segment the data into the various components and models. Is that okay? And the 2021 census was conducted using a questionnaire. And the questionnaire contains the questions we wanted to go and ask the people. So if I come to your house, I'll ask, how old are you? That is the question. What is your sex? Then what will you say? If I ask you what is your sex, will you answer me? Yeah. But we still ask. We know, but we still ask. You can look at the mail and you tell you is a female trapped in a male body. But that is an illegality, so we don't record that. Is that okay? So we try to group the census into the various, and if you look at it, it has been arranged alphabetically. So it means that if you pick the census questionnaire, you will see these various models. And these modules were what we used in the data collection. So we have a module on difficulty in performing activities. So when we say someone has difficulty in performing activity, that is what, as an undergraduate, you say disability. Right? If you grow and you do masters and do PhD, you call disability. Because you say disability seems offensive. And now people are trying to make it look nice. People with different abilities. Yes, that is how they call them. They also, do you know they have abilities we don't have? Yes. They have, you don't know their special people. And then we say that in order for us not to say difficult, and this one, why we also use difficult was because of the fact that we were not only looking out for people, for example, who cannot see, but we're also interested in the degree of even your sight. Is that okay? If I can see, what is the degree? You see that I can't see at all, or I can see small, or I can see more, or I can see clear. We're interested in how people rated their seeing. And we make sure that when we say somebody has difficulty in seeing, we didn't just leave it like that and come and ask, do you have difficulty in seeing? No. We ask them, do you have difficulty in seeing even if you are wearing lens? Once you are wearing lens and you can see clearly, you don't have difficulty. Hello? If you are wearing lenses and you cannot do at all, then we can say you have difficulty. I mean, we did a classification in two aspects, where we classified all Ghanaians into having difficulty or not having difficulty. And even with those having difficulty, we did a breakdown again. The breakdown was also in two parts. The first breakdown was, if you say you have difficulty, what type of difficulty are you having? So, for example, if you say your difficulty seeing, then under seeing, we broke seeing into 4 components. You understand? I cannot see at all. What is the other thing? Oh. Forgotten the 4. But I know the 2 extremes. With a lot of difficulty. Thank you very much, boss. Thank you very much. And also to introduce my boss as the chief census methodologist. So the whole census architecture, he designed everything. Is that okay? Yeah. So we wanted to see whether people have a lot of difficulty, whether they have some difficulty, or they cannot do at all. You see, so some people cannot walk at all, others can walk. You see that thing? Then some also walk normally. So we wanted to see the various levels that were in. So that is what the difficulty in performing activity model is about. Is it clear? So if you want to do something on difficulty, you know where to go to. Is that all right? Hello? Then we have economic activity. And again, let me also contextualize the various models so we know how to interpret them on Friday. Now, whatever we are doing here, or whatever module you see in census, even though it is for Ghanaians at a point in time, we ask this question with a reference period. And you remember there is something we call census night. And they will interpret that night to be a period, a point in time where the picture of the whole country is taken. It's like a snapshot. You take a drone and take a picture. So wherever you find yourself, that's where you have it. So when we are asking the question, we make reference to where you were on that night. Is that okay? We don't just come and ask you the question. The question is in relation to where you were in that night. And then the other thing we ask is that after getting to know where you were that night, then we are making references to some of the models. We make reference to 7 days before the night. And I'm saying this because maybe if I'm doing difficulty in performing activity, it is as I met the person. I make reference to the census night. But if I'm doing something with economic activity, the reference period is not just census night alone, but it is 7 days preceding the census night if an activity has ensued. Are you alright? So we need to contextualize these numbers so that we don't just mix them up and say that 2 million Ghanaians are not employed and they ask you what is unemployment and you cannot define. Is that okay? We need to clearly understand. That's why my boss said if you go to GSS website and even Start Bank has documentation. It's not something metadata. So when you download every table, it comes with a metadata. And that metadata gives you a vivid description of the context of the numbers. So for example, economic activity, we did not ask everybody in Ghana. There were some people we exempted from asking that question. Is that okay? So if you pick each model, the exemptions are clear. So if I pick economic activity, we started for individuals 5 years and older. So if you were 4 years, 6 months before on census night, we didn't ask you that question. And if you are not in a stable institution or a household, we also didn't ask you that question. So you see that some people are exempted, but we are generalizing it for Ghana because of how the whole census architecture is like. Is that okay? Even surveys we generalize how more a census that. So a stable institution is like, for example, a university hall. That we know when we go there, we'll see you. Is that not it? So that is stable. Or maybe you go to a prison camp. When you go there, you see the people. But for example, when you go to a hospital, there are people admitted today, maybe tomorrow they'll be discharged. Is that not it? So that becomes an unstable institution. So when we are putting these numbers, we need to know how it was gathered and then to provide the basis just as that. For example, for each of the model, and for most of them, there is an age caveat and there is a sex condition as well. Some models relate to only females. Others relate to both males and females. Are you okay? So we need to clearly understand that. So I was on economic activity where I'm saying that we asked it for 5 years and older, and for peoples in households and in stable institutions. Now, let's talk about what a household is. And for the purposes of the census, we try to summarize it and say that it is a group of people. So let's use your teams as an example. So it's a group of people who share the same cooking arrangement and recognizes one person as the head. So who is the head of this? They are all pointing at you, so you are the household head for the purposes of the hackathon. So you see, they all recognize him as the head. So when we say a household, we are not talking about your father, your grandfather, your brother all living in one house. Household is different from a house. Households live in a house. Are you okay? So when you go to one house, you can find several households. For example, the compound houses. When I go to a compound house, every room in that compound house can be a household. Maybe that room is occupied by a group of people who share the same cooking arrangement and recognize one person as the head. So what is happening? Yeah, it's cool. Yes. So that is what we are talking about. So people in households, and I'm doing this because if you get to housing, then you realize that the questions on housing were asked for only people living in households. Are you okay? We didn't ask for those living in schools and hospitals and all that. So if you are in a household, that is when we will come and ask your head or any representative of that household. What is the building material, the outer wall, the floor, the roof? Is it made of slates? Is it made of roofing sheets? The wall, is it made of bricks? Is it made of concrete blocks? So a lot of questions about the housing architecture. And then also have information about your source of lighting Are you connected to the national grid, or you are using solar lamp? You see all that. So whatever you want about the households and their living condition, you can get that from the housing model. Please, are you following? And mind you, this, if I generate any number from housing, I am not generating Ghanaians. Hello? If I generate any number from housing, I am not generating the number of Ghanaians. But what am I generating? Hey, what am I generating? What number am I generating from housing? What will I be generating? Huh? So I'll be generating the number of households. So if I generate anything from housing, it is not the number of Ghanaians, but rather it's the number of households in Ghana. But these individuals live where? They live within the households, except that some live in institutions. So if you look at how the census has been structured, we have what we call the household population and then the non-household population, so that we can clearly understand how many people are in households. And for example, those of you who are living in university halls, you are not in households. So we're interested in knowing what your number also is. And then we completed some indicators we call the human development indicator. We have education literacy, and education is just about attendance level grade. These are the three key things looked at. Attendance means how many people are currently attended in the past, or never attended. And then the grade, the level is what level? You know level? So you are in level what? You are in level 10. That's not the level we mean. So we call it the highest level of education. And others will call it your educational attainment. We want to see whether you have bachelor's degree, want to see whether you have an HND, want to see whether you have diploma, want to hear whether your attainment is primary and all that. Is that okay? Or JHS or middle school. So we classified all Ghanaians 3 years and older. You remember I told you there is a sex caveat and age caveat, right? So the age on education is what? 3 years and older. And then the age on economic activity is what? 5 years and older. Thank you very much. At least one person is listening. There are fertility and mortality. So we wanted to see how fertile Ghanaians were. And issues about fertility in most instances we say relates to the woman, because it's the woman who knows who is the father of the child. Is that not so once the woman gives birth, automatically the child belongs to the woman. Is that not it? As for the father, they can tell you are the father. You are my brother. You have to go and do DNA. You see that thing? So because of that, the fertility model, we restricted it to only women. And for women, not every woman. And this is where we were people will try to differentiate between a woman and a girl and a lady. What is the difference? Are you a woman, are you a girl, or you're a lady? Okay, so we said for women 12 years, 12 to where? 54. Women 12 to 54. These were the people, we asked for all women, and then there was a model we restricted to 54 years. So all women 12 years and older to answer fertility. And the questions we have in there were the number of children ever born. And of the total number of children ever born, how many of them are surviving? How many of them are with you? How many of them are living elsewhere? We have all these questions, you see. And the reason why these questions we asked, and we made sure the questions were asked of the woman in the absence of the husband, because we didn't want to cause confusion. Yeah, so GSS, confidentiality and anonymity, is our hallmark. We want to ensure that our respondents can trust us, so we don't joke with those things. So we asked the woman, how many children have you ever born? And then the woman will tell me 5. Meanwhile, the husband would have there 3. So if you ask this question in the presence of the husband, have you not caused confusion? And so we didn't want to do that. So it's only women 12 years and older who answered fertility. And then mortality was asked at the level of the household. So we asked the household, and the reference period for mortality was different. It was for 12 months, whether any member of the household has died. And then the death, we tried to classify it, whether it was through genocide, whether it was through suicide, whether it was through birth, this maternal mortality and all that. We wanted to classify the household death also into the various components. So then we have ICT, that is the computers that are sitting in front of you. That is what we call ICT. Now, ICT is information communication technology, and the questions largely we asked under this were ownership and usage, and then the type of device. You see how we classify them. So, wanted to know, do you own? Have you used? These two things are different. The likelihood that you own and will not use is lesser than you will use and you will not own. A lot of people are using mobile phones, but they don't own mobile phones. So we wanted to know ownership and usage so that at least we can track to know the number of people who own and the number of people who use. And then we are in the era of digital currency. And the concept of mobile money came in. That have you used mobile phone to do financial transactions? That is Momo. You Momo me, I Momo you. My number is 02432999. You can try and see it will come. So we have ICT there. And I mean, this will help us measure ICT literacy, people who have used the internet. I think internet, even within the ICT model, the date, the period is different. I think internet is in the past 3 months. Because I don't remember now. I don't know if ICT model was in the past 3 months, preceding 3 months preceding the census. So we just try to make sure that we classify these things in a way, and then we have the population. So this population model you are seeing, actually, okay, we can say it was a model in the census, but this was the section where we're asking people about their age, their sex, their religion, their ethnicity, all these things we put it together, and in Start Bank we are calling it the population. Some will say this is the social demographic information we're sorting from our respondents. But if you look at it, if you click on this, you are going to get information on the numbers, the number of people, that is urban, rural, the population in a district, the population in a region. You see that? So if I want to know the total population in Ghana, that is what I'll do. If I want to know the population for every region in Ghana, that is what I'll do. If I want to know population for all the 261 districts. How many districts are in Greater Accra? You don't know. Okay. You don't know. You want to try? Yes. 26. Okay. Yes. I think it's 28 then. But they have 32 sub-metros because we have the metropolitan area that has about 2 sub-metros, the Central and then we have the AME, where we have the South, and then we have AMA has 3 sub-metros. So if you put all that together, one can say Greater Accra has 32 districts. But when we're talking about administrative district, AMA is seen as a district. And then TMA is also seen as a district. Are you okay? So that makes it 28. So if you want to know the population for every district in Greater Accra, you can get it from it. And then structures. I told you we had moved from just doing population to doing population and housing. So we wanted, before we did the census, we did something we call listing. So we even came to your campus and we listed every structure here. So we gave every structure a number during census. Yes, every structure in Ghana had a number during census. I'm sure you'll be thinking how we did that. It was very easy to do. We just demarcated the country into smaller units. We call enumeration areas. And assigned an enumeration area to the enumerators, over 70,000 of them across the country. So they go around, they move in what we call serpentine order to make sure they listed every structure. So if you need information on the levels of completion of all structures in Ghana, the total number of residential structures and all that, you can get it from the structure model. And then we have water and sanitation. So water and sanitation, we know what water is. We have the source of drinking water. We have water for washing and other activities. Then we have the number of minutes it takes you to get water and back. We have distance to water. So all that can be captured there. And then the sanitation, we have the solid and liquid waste disposal approaches. And then we have the refuse receptacles, whether you are using a dustbin, whether you are burning, whether you are throwing in the gutters, you have information. So as we are going through the various models, I believe already you are conceptualizing what you can work on or what each model can help you achieve. If you are not, then you have to start doing so. Okay. So if I come to the 2021 population and housing census, let's assume that I want to know. Okay, so let's go to AMA and check for the waste disposal methods in AMA, for instance. Okay, so all I will do is that once I want to do waste disposal methods, where should I go? I'll go to water and sanitation. You see how it is done. You think about what you want and then you go to where you can get it. So once I need waste disposal, I know if I go to water and sanitation, I would definitely get something on waste. Oh, the machine is faster than me. So you see what we have? We have all this information about what? Waste disposal. Then I have the solid waste storage, the method of solid waste disposal. That is what I'm looking for. Can you all say? So all I'll do is to click on it. We are doing the practical session on how to access data from the start bank. And people are sleeping. Can you imagine that? Hallelujah. I will deliver you people. In Jesus' name. Amen. Okay. Director say when you sleep again, you stand on your feet. Okay, so don't sleep. Please pay attention. So once I click on water and sanitation and identify the particular table I'm looking for, what do? I click on it. See, just click one. You use this finger. Everybody do like this. Then you click on it. Then it will open this interface for you. Do you see that? Once the interface is open, this is how it looks. Now, we'll use this table to demonstrate, and I'll go around to see how you also access data. So once I do this, I'm going to see all the fields. Now, these fields, in the context of StatBank, we refer to them as dimensions. Okay, it's like I want to build a house. The house has different dimensions, and if you did mathematics small, every one of us here have done mathematics in our life. Anyone go to school or Ghana? We did commerce, and commerce we used to do something called mensuration. You remember? Yeah. Where we were doing rectangles and squares. We're talking about the width, we're talking about the breadth, we're talking about if it's a circle, we're talking about radius and diameter. You remember? The circles theorem. The way that thing has tormented people is like they have left school. So every table has a dimension. It's like, so view the table as a table like this. Is that not it? So let's assume this is a table. There is a dimension here, there is a dimension there. Do you see that? So these are the dimensions we are talking about. So what we are seeing here, the solid waste is a dimension. So we will decide whether to put it on the length or we put that dimension on the breadth. Are we okay? So see all of them as dimensions. And then when you look at locality, it is also a dimension, whether it is urban or it is what? Rural. Please, are you following? So if I need anything urban rural, then I'll go to the locality dimension, right? Then if I need something geographic area, now if you look into the geographic area dimension, what are you seeing? You are seeing mandatory. And what is mandatory? It is a must. What it means is that when you see a star on top of a dimension, it means that until you select that dimension, you can generate a table. And every table should have at least 2 dimensions. So I want to look out for solid waste disposal methods in Accra metropolitan area. Some call it Accra Metropolitan Assembly, but at GSS we call it Accra Metropolitan Area because it's an area made of different submetros. So let's say I am looking for what? Greater Accra, AMA. You see, I'll have to scroll on, there are 261. I have to scroll until I see what? Greater Accra. But there is a way I can do it easily. How do I do it easily if I'm looking for just AMA? To do it easily, the search button can help me, but I can also use this particular key. We call it a hierarchy. If you put the cursor on it, you see this key? It's like the comb that ladies have been using to comb their hair. Right? So if you put the cursor on it, you see what? Select what? Hierarchically. So once I click on it, this is what it is going to do for me. You see, it has opened the table in a bigger format that I can clearly see all regions, right? But I know I am looking for AMA. But I can't say I'm looking for AMA when I don't know which region AMA is in. Would that make sense? No. So I need to know the region, the district I'm looking for is contained. So if AMA is in Greater Accra, if I click on the plus sign, it's going to open all the districts in Greater Accra. And lo and behold, there comes Accra Metropolitan Area, AMA. So if I need AMA, you see that beside AMA there is a plus. This tells us that AMA is also carrying babies. So now this is how the table is built. We have Greater Accra, we have Ghana carrying 16 babies. And each 16 baby is carrying a number of other babies. And there are some other babies that are carrying some more babies. So you realize that Greater Accra is carrying 28 babies. But if you come to AMA, which is one of the babies of Greater Accra, so these are grandchildren of Greater Accra. Do you see that? They are grandchildren. So if you pick AMA, you realize that AMA has children. Ablekuma South, Asiedu Keteke, and Okaiku South, as I indicated. So these are the 3 sub-metros in Greater Accra. So if I need all the sub-metros individually, I'll click on them instead. But if I don't need them, but I need them aggregated into AMA, I uncheck them, and instead of clicking them one by one, I click just AMA. So if I click just on AMA, it is going to add all the 3 into one row. You see that? But if I need a breakdown of AMA into the various components, then I'll do the selection of them individually. But assuming I need all the 3, in addition to AMA itself, then I select all the 4 like this. You see that? So it's going to give me AMA, then under AMA to give me all the Asiedu Keteke and the South and then Okaiku South. Alright, so once I'm done with the selection, then I scroll down and say continue. Is that it? So once I click continue, it's going to take me back to the dimensions. But unfortunately, I don't need LMLA. So if you have clicked on a particular row you are not interested in, you press the control key like this, and then you click on it again to uncheck it. Are you alright? Now I want to know solid waste disposal. So I need for all the options. So if you need for all the options, you have the select all key here. So once you click on it, it selects all. And then you go down to what? To show table. Has the table displayed? Yes. The table has. All right. So there's a paper going around for you to provide some details about yourself. Make sure you do that and do it well. If it's your name, spell it well. I don't know, maybe used for certificate and other things. So, okay. So once this happens, then the table opens up. And then I can see that for AMA, I have all the numbers and then the breakdowns are there. You see how it looks now. So now that I have this table, what can I do with it? I want to do some nice visuals, I can go ahead and do that. Now, interestingly, if we add Ablekuma South, Asidu Keteke, and Okarike South together, it should give you the 97,000. You see that? So it's like AMA, and then I'm looking it out to the various sub. So once I get to this point, I know I'm good. I can transform this table. I can change the dimension. I can make this one the length, and I can make this one the length, and make this one the breadth. How do I do that? How to transform the table? When you look up here, we have three important keys. We have the pivot manual, pivot clockwise, and then pivot counterclockwise. So if I pivot clockwise, it's going to change the structure of the table. Can you see the structure of the table now? Is it that the structure has changed? Pivot clockwise again. It's good. No, this pivot manual. This is not what I'm looking for. Let me cancel. So if I pivot clockwise again, it's going to move it back to where it was. If I pivot counterclockwise, to move it like this. Pivot counterclockwise. So you can change the structure. Now, if I don't want to change it this way, I can also use the pivot manual key. This will open a box for me like this. Now, these are rows and columns. I hope you are all power users of Excel, as you indicated in the application. I have forgotten that when you are applying, Excel account. So we are going to have, so in Excel we have rows and what? And columns. So if I see rows and columns, it tells me that the solid waste disposal method is on the rows. So I'm doing this on the rows. So okay, so it's on the rows like this. And then the district is on what? The geographic area, which is the district, is on columns. I can swap them. So I can click this one and move to what? Rows. Then I can click on this one and move to what? Columns. That will change the structure of the table. So if I say complete, it's going to change the structure of the table. So aside the pivot clockwise, which are automatic keys to help change the structure, there are some tables which will be more three-dimensional. It will not just be two dimensions, it can be more than two dimensions. If I have a table that is more than two dimensions, what do I do? I can use the pivot manual to rearrange them and have my columns and rows well structured in that table. So let's say you are done with structuring your table. So you can move this counterclockwise. And as I move counterclockwise, I've accessed my table. I want to download it and use it for my analysis. If I want to download it in Excel and read it, in Python, I want to read it in R to do my analysis. What do? I go to the save result as. So once I click on save results as, you see the various options that are open. Can you see? A lot of options. We have the JSON files, we have the HTML, we have the relational files, we have semicolon delimited with that heading, different names. Some of us have not even seen this files extension before. They all exist because we don't know what our users want. So we put all those options. And I know you and I are power users of Excel. So we click on Excel. We want to save our results in Excel. Now, once you click on the save key, the downloads automatically activate. Is that okay? The saving is not different from download. Yes, go ahead. So once I say save, you see what happened? You see, it has downloaded it. So if I open this particular file, then this is going to give me information on the file I have downloaded. You see the file I've downloaded from Startbank. It's not an X. I can read it if you want. Whether R. For your questions here, including those on data. If you need a data set you can't find so far, okay. They want data on minerals. What about minerals? Mineral. Hmm. Okay. So they want information on what? Natural resources. And natural resources, they are talking about gold, bauxite, diamond. Okay, so this is what I can do to possibly guide you. I don't know what you want specifically, whether the quantum of minerals extracted in Ghana is here, or you want mineral deposit of everything. I don't know. That's why I asked you what about the mineral. It has to be explicit. I need to know what exactly you're looking for. But I mean, with this information with mineral, the first thing I can hear in my ears is that go to the trade indicators. Maybe under import and export, you will be able to see the commodities. And then you will see the quantum of bauxite Ghana exported, the quantum of gold we exported in monetary terms. Something like that may be able to help you. But otherwise, GSS doesn't have any data on mineral deposits. Mostly we engage more with human beings. So we don't know what is done there. But again, you can go to the Minerals Commission's website, check or not, if maybe they may have some data on minerals. Then you relate it to what you want to do from the start bank perspective. Yeah. Please, are you together? Any other question? Yes.
Data on healthcare. So something like diseases and data on diseases with regards to children or adults, or whether it's being with diseases caused by airborne pollution or whatever.
All right, thank you very much. Data on diseases of children, whether it's caused by airborne, water, whatever. Okay, so once you said diseases, then I started thinking through all the data that DSS have. But I know we have a survey on health. Then we call it the demographic and health survey. The latest one was conducted in 2022. So as we speak now, that data, unfortunately, is not on the stat bank, but work is far advanced to put it on. But all I can say is that you can get access to the micro data. When we talk about the micro data, it is the data at the individual level. I told you the stat bank houses aggregated. And on the stat bank, the smaller unit of analysis now is the district level. But if you read the micro data, you get for every child the kind of diseases. And then we have the child anemia, we have malaria, diarrhea, and then the causes. I'm sure definitely you should be able to find a question from the DHS questionnaire that relates to child diseases. Are you okay? So you can import that micro data. It's mostly in Stata SPSS. And you can read it in Python app or whatever programming language. You can convert it to Excel and work with it. That is what you're doing. So that data you can get it micro data. If you are finding difficult downloading it, we can give it out to you and then you use it to do it. Any other question? So as I was explaining, aside aggregated data, which is on the stat bank, you can use. So again, DSS also have what we call the micro data portal. And now this micro data houses all the micro data sets we are having aside what are aggregated on the stat bank. So you pick every survey, you have the micro data. And as I explained micro, it's like individual level, just as we collected it, or the unit of analysis level. If it is household level information, that micro data is there. So that you see every row is representing the household. It's at individual level is there. But when we talk about aggregated, it's like we are moving it from individual level, household level, and aggregating it to, like, say, district. And that is why I said the smallest unit of analysis on StatBank is the district. We don't even have locality level data on StatBank. And that is why the stat bank data we say is on aggregated. Is it clear? So if you need any micro data, I don't remember the site of head, but I know how to download it. So just let us know what data. The mentors, we are here to guide you as to how to get it. Is that okay? So let's say, for example, if I need micro data, maybe I just want to go to GSS website. If I get to the website, I can get it. You see, data set download. You see that? Once I get to GSS website, you see data request. And then the data request, there are two drop downs. The data request form and what? Data set download. So if I click on data set download, it's going to open to me a list of micro data sets we have. And this is what I'm talking about. This will open all the micro data sets. So if you want to download, you just register and the registration is free. You don't pay anything. You register with your email address and you send a confirmation link to your email, which you activate and use it to download. The reason you need to register is to help us track those who are using our data. At least we need to know whether it's people from academia, it's people from industry, where they are. And then every 5 years, every 2 years, we do a survey called the user satisfaction. So we use this to do the sample users we want to do an interview and find out from them how satisfied they are with the data set. So if I need any data, I just click on it. The child labor survey, these are old files. So if I need something fresh and new, then I can talk about annual household income expenditure survey, gender income population, housing census. So if I click on this, And then you just follow instructions, get micro data. If I get micro data, they want me to either log in or what? Register. Do you see that? So if I have an account, so if I try to log in, it will bring me here where my email address and my login, which I don't even remember now. It's already failed. If I say login, to log me in and give me access to download the particular data. That is another code. And I believe you guys are sharp guys. Once you open to the website, you know how to navigate your ways to be able to download the data. Any other questions? So these are the micro data set I'm talking about. Aside aggregated data, and for example, so I want to show you how a micro data look like. Okay, so let me show you how micro data look like. Let me see if I have micro data here. So let me go to the folder. I just want to see a micro data. Good. So let's say this is the 10% census micro data, and I'm opening it in data. So for example, once I do this, oh, it's still loading. It's a big file actually. So this is a file containing over 3 million applications. You understand that? Okay, so it's open. So this is what you call micro data. You see, so this is data, and this side it appears. If I load this in Python and R using the appropriate functions, it will still appear like this. Then I can do my analysis. You see, it has information on everybody in Ghana. The variables are there. You see them. So this P14B1 underscore new. Every variable has its label for you to know what the variable is about. Is that okay? So the columns are there, the rows are also there. So this over 3 million. If you check down here, is 3,007,968. Do you see that? 3,007,968. So you know you can also download this data and work with it. So in your case, you will need something on diseases. So if you go to say, I have something already on the DHS, and if I open this folder, I will have some micro data on DHS. I don't know what this file actually represents, but it is something on DHS, whether it's on children or it is on the mother or whatever. If you read the documentation, it will guide you to know. So these are responses, yes, no. Maybe is the disease caused by airborne, yes or no. I'm just giving an example. So the Bible V16:9a may represent something like that. So all you need to know is the variable and what it is measuring, and then you can do your analysis for it. So it's possible. This is a DHS 2022 data file. I don't know what this represents. I don't know if it's about FLA there. No, BR, but individual item. So we have the children file, we have the women file, we have the men file, we have the household file. The DHS has different breakdowns, depending on what you want to do. So since you are interested in health, it's fine. So on this, yes. Okay. All right. Thank you. So let's go back to that. The only unfortunate thing with the API is that for the 2021 population that has the census, all tables have APIs. That if I do the setting of my dimensions, it generates an API I can link to and work. Some of them on StatBank, the APIs have not been included yet. So let's give an example of StatBank 2021 census and see if there will be an API. Where were we? We were here. We're here. So you come to um, 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 do I even know where to say it? Save as down now. The one you click, save your query. Save your query. Save as. That's peace. update here. Yes, yes. Yeah. So you copy this. Okay. So, meaning if I'm able to read this in my program, it should give me this table just as around. Not all tables on the start bank have. And just to also mention that the start bank is still in progress. We have not landed, and we don't have a landing because every time there is new data, we keep updating. That's right. Microdata pattern always use it. Yes, yes. Thank you very much. So it's highlighting an important point that you can't use any data set if you don't know the documentation behind the data. And one key important documentation is what you call the questionnaire. If I'm using a micro data, I need to have access to the questionnaire. I'm not only downloading the data, I'm also downloading the data, the questionnaire. Are you alright? So that this questionnaire will guide me to know that this variable in the data was measured like this. Is it clear? So I think and the documentation of each of them you can download the questionnaire as well. Any question? Now, can you get data from Startman? Like I said, I sincerely believe even if we did not do this, and even last year we didn't do training at an section like this. We just told them there is a Startman, they should go there and download it. They went. But again, I still believe that this introduction is necessary to at least introduce us to the various data sets we have available and which one can help you solve your problem. But I know once you are introduced to the site and you are people who are computers and Android phones, you can navigate your way through. You can even navigate a start bank better than myself because I hardly go here. Hardly. Maybe once in a while I go. I just do small thing and I'm off. But I can't say I know all the functionalities of all the keys on the start bank. I don't because obviously I don't need that function for anything. But you can even explore better, do better downloads. What is important to me is the contextualization of the numbers you are going to get. If you get a number, what does it mean? That is what matters to me more. If you get a number from the start bank, is it representing people? And even if it is representing which people are we talking about? There are some tables on the start bank, the age cutoff is 15 years and older. Please, are you okay? The age cutoff is what? 15 years and older. So if I'm doing something and I get 15 years and older, then we're talking about people in the working age category. And these tables are largely related to employment and unemployment issues. Because per the International Labour Organization standards, the lowest age you should be working or you can be classified as economically active is 15 years and older. Even though in Ghana we say 18, right? And don't go and say children are working because of that. It's child labor. Hello, the two are different. We have what we call child work, child labor. I don't know, maybe Chief will remind me if DSS have any data that can clearly measure child labor. Okay. It's an old survey, obviously. Did you hear what she said? Yeah, I saw that micro data, 2001. Child something something. Yeah, I think it's here. Child labor survey. Do you see that? And Chief is right, 2001. I told you she's a custodian of all the data. So after 2001, where were you? He wasn't born. Yeah, but okay. Yes. Okay. So we also have a data set I want to mention. Peter just reminded me. We have information on proximity. And this proximity, some of you may be interested. It measures, so for example, we are looking at essential services in Ghana. Give me an example of an essential service. Healthcare. What else? Huh? Hey, electricity. Electricity. Okay. Water. Essential service. Schools. Thank you. Transport. Security. Thank you. Aqua. Hey, what's it food? Food is a out of food if you don't get it, my brother, you will die. Food is not just essential, but food is life. Okay. Yeah, food is life. So well, you mentioned schools, you mentioned security, you mentioned healthcare, you mentioned financial services. So after the census, what we did was to pick the census data, and I told you we have assigned structure numbers to every structure in Ghana. You remember I said that? Now, we did not only assign the numbers. After assigning the numbers, we picked some information from the structure. For example, what is the use of the structure? Are you agree? Tell me the use of the structure is for a clinic. That is good information. So I'll pick the GPS coordinate of that structure. And then I'll go to another structure. Let's say within the same area. And then I ask. So let's say this structure and that one. So this one is clinic. Then that one is a residential structure. The use is for residency. You understand? People sleep or people live in there. So once I get the coordinate of this structure and I get the coordinate of this structure, through GIS approaches and methods and GIS gymnastics, you can calculate the distance between this structure and that structure. Isn't not simple to do? If you get a coordinate, you can do anything. And we only computed what we call the Euclidean distances. That is a straight line. We didn't consider the road networks and all that. So I'm saying that what is the distance in straight line from of this structure to this one using the GPS coordinate. So when we declare complications, then I'll say that if this is the only clinic in the area, then I want to look at all the residences. What are their distances? Then when I finish, I put all the distances together and strike an average. So I can say that within that area, the average distance to this clinic is about say 5 kilometers. Please, are you listening? So if you are interested in distance to a clinic, distance to a hospital, distance to a maternity home, distance to a polyclinic, distance to a traditional herbal center, distance, we have a lot of them. The breakdown is there. And then we didn't just do for health, we also did for school. And even school, we didn't do for just any school. We started from pre-primary, we started from primary, then AHS, then SHS. Then when it comes to the financial services, we broke it down to banks, microfinance, savings, and loans. And then when it comes to security, we have the police post. So we have distance to all these essential services for all districts in Ghana. Please, are you following? So if you want to do something that will talk about distance to something like that, that data you won't find it on StatBank yet. We'll put it on. I know my director will not be happy because she has access to put it on long time. and we have not done that yet. But I also believe she understands. So I mean we'll put it on the StatBank. We'll put it on the StatBank. But it's not if you need it, we can give it to you. Are you okay? So if you want to do something on that one, let us know. Peter and myself have that data available and then you use. Are you alright? Like I said, we are going to be with you. But just that we cannot sleep with you. When we are tired, we will go rest because the 5,000 when you take you give. We'll go home and rest. Then you can continue working. But again, I've asked him to create a WhatsApp platform. Let us all get on it so that you put myself, Peter, and Sylvester on. Yes, so I'll share the link with my colleagues. If you have any question on any data, on anything, put it on the platform. One of us will respond. Is that all right? That is if we are not here with you. Yeah, if it's 1 a.m., put it there. When we wake up, we respond. When we wake up, we respond. Okay, any question? I think there is, in economics, we have a theory. We call it the law of diminishing returns. And there is one also called the law of diminishing marginal productivity. My director want to speak first.
Yes. Suggest we do practical session.
All right. So my director has proposed, even though I was trying to explain the law of diminishing marginal returns, where we say that when more and more of a variable input is added to a fixed input in the production process, total product will rise, attain maximum, and fall thereafter. So we are saying that diminishing returns is something we are getting tired. It's been a day. Has given an assignment. So we are all going to generate a statistic to your tables with the help of Peter and slide, and we check to see if your answer is correct. Now go to the start bank. Go to the start bank. I'm going to give the table, and I'll make sure that number is just one number. Okay? Hello? Your answer is just one number. So it's not going to be a table, it's going to be just a number. So I want you to extract the total population. Are you there? Okay, so I want you to extract the male population for Jonas one. So let me get a question. Will I get a marker here? There's no marker. I love to write on the board. So let's say we are extracting the male population for Jonas one using the 2021 population and housing census. It's just one number. If you get two numbers, you are wrong. Jonas one district using the 2021 PH. And Jonas one district, let me help you. Don't worry, I'm only giving you the region you can find it. It's in the northeast region. Is that okay? Is that enough? Okay, so we are going to come around to check. Everybody is going to extract that number. As I said, it's just one number. Everybody, because in the team, everybody can be asked today. So you have to extract total population, total male population for Jonas one. Total male population, yes. Total male population for